So this is the fun stuff about the YouTube show, if anybody ever watches it, is every now and then something screws up and doesn't work properly. So we just have to reload that. Good times, good times. Just be a second. Yay, fun. Do it live. There it is. That's what Daddy wants. All right, let's try that. Chris Scalzi here with
Matt Howell
and featuring
David Day
and
Bryce Hanson.
That's right. The gentlemen from Horror Movie Talk are joining us here this week on The First Run. They are a weekly horror movie podcast out of Vancouver, Washington. They feature current theatrical releases as well as some classic and not so classic horror films. You can check them out at horrormovietalk.com and listen to them on all the places. So this week, it's going to be a serial thriller as we wade through the minefields that are this week's big releases. We'll only be able to get through it all with diesel power, but it promises to be some funky ass. First up, we'll fuel our fire with discussing The Prodigy. Taylor Schilling stars as the mother struggling to help her son, who may be possessed by something. How far she'll go to save him, there's only one way to find out. And as we climatize to the end of the show, never forgetting to breathe, we move on to the remake of the Norwegian film In Order of Disappearance. This time it's called Cold Pursuit. Liam Neeson stars as an aggrieved father out for revenge against a drug gang that murdered his son, smacking B words up left and right. That song title I always found troublesome. And it's funny. There's an interminably long rundown of the big releases on Blu-ray and DVD featuring the straight-to-DVD and streaming picks of the week. Then the show wraps up with our 2019 Oscar predictions. Can I regain my crown after losing last year to Matt? It's a fire starter of a show this week. Narian. I couldn't fit in that title. This, of course, are all song titles from Prodigy's Fat of the Land album. Some jokes aren't funny. Here's a clip from The Prodigy.
Sarah, I was so relieved when you called. So you must be Miles. Watch the silver eye. Just watch. The regression won't work if you're in the room.
Is this going to hurt him?
No. It's hypnosis. Miles goes out of body when the invading soul is present. He won't even remember the experience. The goal here is to identify the person who has returned. And this is important. Find out what they want. I'm going to be candid with you, Sarah. This may be your last chance. Miles is 8 now. Soon the invading soul will have control. And Miles will be gone.
All right, Matt. So as we always note, every episode is mastered for a particular listening experience. This one is best listened to while being hypnotized to discover if you've been possessed by or some weird reincarnation thing is happening. It's a little cloudy. So Matt, why don't you tell the folks at home, what is The Prodigy all about?
Sure. So this is like your typical creepy kid film. A kid is born, and it turns out that he is possessed by a serial killer. Yeah, and then he goes on a rampage, and it's just creepiness all around. I don't really have much else to say about that film as far as the plot goes.
I don't know if there's really much more to say. So, David, Bryce, let me ask you. So, typically, this time of year is considered the dumping ground for films, but every now and then we do get. Well, there's two things you get, right? You get a Liam Neeson action film, which we're going to talk about in the second half of the show. But you tend also to get a horror film that can be described as reasonably entertaining. Maybe your Escape Rooms, which is not horrible. Where does The Prodigy fit for you, gentlemen? As the experts of horror talk, I'm curious. What were your thoughts?
You want me to go, David?
I would love that. Nothing would make me happier. Bryce, go ahead.
Okay. I think on this one we both agreed, which was rare, that this was straight middle of the road, just a perfect mediocre film. nothing exceptional about it, but nothing terribly bad. I mean, it was what it says it was, but nothing more. So, I mean, it wasn't something that I would recommend people go out into theaters. It's more of a renter.
That used to be one of our ratings too, right, Matt? Back in the day, it was, do you got to go see it in the theater, wait to rent it, or skip it? So, but it sounds like for you, Bryce, it's a renter.
Yeah.
Ben, David, you were similar on board with that notion?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I wish I could hate the Prodigy more, but I can't because it's the bones are time tested, right? I mean, it's so similar to so many really good movies that are horror movies that are, about possession, or in this case, not possession. And but boy, man, it did feel like a big long wasted time. I just wanted to dislike it more.
I love too that one of the taglines for this, because you always know when they talk about the film where the people were fainting in the aisles, and one of the things they said about this one is that it was so scary it had to be re-edited. So I digged a little more into that, and I guess supposedly it was there was a one scare move where the people were screaming, and then you couldn't hear the next line of dialogue, so they re-edited it to allow that to sit a bit, I guess, which doesn't really have the same, I think, impact.
Yeah, I mean, we had this debate on our episode about the Prodigy, which is, do you really believe it was too scary, or was that just a very smart marketing move to say, yeah, if you think it's not scary, it's because we had to edit it to be less scary. Like, yeah, I don't buy it. I think it was more like we had editing problems.
Right.
And that, like, we edited it in a way that important, like, expositional material could not be understood, which is shocking because they feed it to you on a silver platter very blatantly in this movie. And yeah, I don't buy that this movie was ever too scary for audiences.
No, I think it's one of those things where they did have a quick little jump scare, and they got some reaction to it. But yeah, no, I'm entirely on board with you guys that it was clearly just a marketing ploy. Matt,
yeah,
I'm desperate to hear your thoughts on the Prodigy, because listen, we're fans of the scary kid genre. I think that's safe to say. So Matt, particularly throw in like an orphanage, right? So Matt, go ahead. What are your thoughts on the Prodigy?
So I feel like I'm the slowest one in the room here because I was really not expecting. I went into this really blind. I had seen the trailer, but I didn't really do any reading up on it. I didn't look into it at all. I just thought, oh, here's typical February horror movie. Maybe it'll be diverting or entertaining. So I was expecting more of a straight up creepy kid film, more along the lines of like The Orphan or The Good Son. You remember that thing with Macaulay Culkin where this kid is basically just like this genius psychopath, and that's like his thing. Yeah. But I was not expecting the kind of supernatural element of this thing, of him being reincarnated serial killer, because honestly, when they do that kind of juxtaposition in the beginning of the film where it shows the kid being born versus the serial killer getting killed, and I was taking it as that it was like a flash forward, like it was in the future or something like that, and you're kind of seeing like how he ends up kind of thing, like telegraphing. And so like when they, whatever it was, I don't know, 2/3 into the thing, halfway through the thing, it started like, I was like, oh, this is where they're going with this. I don't know if I'm on board with this film, because it was completely different than what I was expecting. And I think if they just kind of gone with just the straight creepy kind of genius murderer kid, that could have been a lot more effective than this kind of harebrained reincarnation thing that made really no sense.
They go through an effort to explain how the reincarnation thing is completely different than being possessed by a demon, and then it proceeds to be not really different at all.
That's right. It's like the Vanilla Ice. It's a little change. It's different. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Mine is. Now, I appreciated the fact that they attempted to try and do something different with the genre. Though, Bryce, I think I'm inclined to agree with you. Maybe it's not as successful as they wanted it to be. But, okay, here's a thing about this show. So you guys didn't agree. Typically, you don't agree sometimes, but on this one you did. Matt and I have the exact opposite problem.
Right.
Our tastes are exceptionally similar, so we tend to like the same things at the same levels. Like our largest ratings gap will be, I'll say C+, he'll say C. Right? It's that kind of thing. So I'm pleased to say that, and maybe somewhat ashamedly, I kind of like this thing. I was thoroughly engaged with it. And let me tell you exactly why. It is, I feel at times, equally parts competent, engrossing filmmaking, and then equal parts outright schlock. I mean, there are times that this thing is laugh out loud bad, but there are other moments that I found particularly effective. Now, maybe they're kind of cheap, like the walking down the cellar stairs with the broken glass. You know what's going to come. The anticipation's killing me. I'm like, all right, just get to it. She's going to step on it. We know. Let's move. But I think that the director, Nicholas McCarthy, does a relatively good job kind of slowly bringing us along with this thing and then eventually delivering to us, I think, was a relatively bonkers ending. The fact that Schilling's character makes the decision she does to, air quotes, save her son, I think is not something I was really anticipating she would do. And I found it ridiculous that any human being would make that decision. And it made me love the film because of it.
Yeah, I had a comment about that in particular, that ending was unearned and that like it came out of the blue. It didn't really make sense with their character. But also it doesn't make sense at all because if your child is possessed with a serial killer and you know that they are we doing spoilers on this? Is that okay?
Yeah, I think something like this, I think we're fine.
Okay,
Yes,
so the idea is that the serial killer is not going to let go of her child until he finishes his unfinished business, which is this girl that escapes. And she says, like, okay, well, this girl's got to die. I better murder this woman.
There's no other option.
But if you're a parent, which I am, if it was my child that was
brace yourself, I
would let my child kill the woman, and then he'd be tried as a juvenile. I mean, it's not like he'd get life in jail.
All right, so
if you kill him, then you'll get tried for murder, get life in prison, and you'll be separated from your child forever, anyways.
All right, you really that's
Bryce
really thought that one out.
As I am not a father, Matt is, but that line of reasoning terrifies me for you as a parent. Let me explain why. At no point, I mean, there's no. It's like the only listen. The choice is this lady's got to die. I don't think that's it, right? It's not who's got to pull the trigger. It's more maybe we need to have this kid committed. Maybe that's the route that nobody in this film thinks to do.
Well, they try, and then he kills his dad, or almost kills his dad.
But they can't just commit. You as an adult can have your child committed,
right?
So maybe not tell the kid on the way that that's what's going to happen.
That you're going to we know you're a psychopath, but we're going to put you in a special school while you're still in the middle of nowhere.
Right. I don't know. I just think that, not to cast any dispersions, Bryce, but not that your logic's not sound. I think it is. I would just think that there are potentially other options. I don't know.
I'm just saying, if I was decided that the girl had to be murdered, if that's like the conclusion I came to.
If that's great. That's that's
the premise you have to accept.
Okay.
Which is what the movie wants us to accept.
Fair.
Fair.
You know what? I will give this movie some credit just for the sheer fact that it has some audacity to kind of go in a place that a lot of American horror films are not going to do, because this kid is committing some pretty brutal crimes. Especially that last murder is pretty intense, especially with the kind of the language that he gets away with, and just the kind of way they try and solve this thing, where they're going to suggest that his mother's going to kill him, kind of thing. I'm like, that's kind of ballsy, Prodigy. I don't think you earned this, but I respect the attempt.
I would have liked more of a missed ending if she actually did. If you want to go all out, then go all out. I mean, that's what makes that film, really, is the ending of that movie. I don't know. It's, what else was I going to say? I blanked on it. Son of a bitch. Can we at least all agree here, too? I'm going to go around the room. I'm going to start with Bryce. Can we have a moratorium on killing dogs in movies?
This one was brutal, too. I mean, they did not joke around with showing that dead dog.
I know. After John Wick, I'm like, I've had enough of this. David, what are your thoughts on the? I'm cool with like a cat. Maybe a ferret.
Yeah, I'd be okay with a cat or a ferret, but you're absolutely right. I'm not a fan. It feels cheap every time is the thing. You go every time you go, oh man, you're really gonna kill the dog? And really, at the start of these kind of movies, you go, oh, that dog's definitely gonna die. And so yeah, I'd agree to the moratorium on killing dogs.
Yeah, it's Chekhov's dog. That's kind of refer to it. Matt, well, go ahead. What do you got? What do you think?
Well, I'm just gonna say this. Spoiler alert, but you guys are not gonna be happy with Alita Battle Angel, and because there's some stuff going on in that one. But it gets the lawnmower man off his ass, so it's all good.
Maybe there could be a movie about killing dogs.
Well, that's true.
Well,
I mean, John Wick is based on killing dogs. I mean, that all happened because he killed dogs.
Touche.
So.
Yeah, touche.
So, it's not all bad, I guess. But yeah, Jeff Fahey's in Alita Battle Angel, very briefly. But it's pretty sweet. What was the question besides killing dogs?
I guess we don't have to have a show next week, Matt. Yeah, no. Go ahead. So, are you on
because
board?
Jeff Fahey was in. I told you Jeff Fahey's in it. That ruined the film.
No, and then you said it's pretty great. So we have a rule that we're not allowed to discuss the films before we actually record the episode. That Matt.
Matt.
I know I've ruined it. I tweeted about it and everything.
I saw that first, and a part of me died just a little bit. Probably 0.001%.
Unfollow me then.
Maybe I will.
No, there you go.
Maybe I will. So Matt, let's end the suspense. Well, gentlemen, actually, I want to start with our guests. So I know that this, and correct me if I'm wrong, that this was the latest episode of your show that you discussed a Prodigy, correct?
Yeah, just last Wednesday.
All right. So what was we go letter grades here. I understand you guys go 1 through 10s. So what did you come down with for the Prodigy? Actually, you know what? No, scratch that. Go listen to their show to find out what they gave it. Matt, what did you give the Prodigy?
I gave it a C. It's not particularly offensive, but I don't know. I wasn't all on board on this. If you go any higher than that, Chris, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
So
ask you to end this show. We've been on this for like 11 years. You can go at this point.
Again, yeah, because Lord knows you do all the work here. No, and again, a chasm of difference between us. C+ for me for the Prodigy.
I tell you, it's very it's very tough on the show.
Yes.
Although it is fun though when we do argue, we get really angry. I get really angry at Chris when he really disagrees with me.
Oh, you got to go to the archives. Like our Antichrist discussion is an all-timer.
Yeah,
that is that's a good one.
Oh
Did
man,
you
what's
guys see the house that Jack built?
I have not watched it yet. I have it kind of queued up to check out, but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Antichrist yet. Was it what do you let's reignite. What do you guys think about Antichrist?
So here's the problem. So the Antichrist is my issue is this may be hard to believe for anybody who's ever listened to the show, or if you're a newbie, thanks to the horror movie talk guests. I back then, I'm going to say back then, was exceptionally pretentious.
Right.
When it came to discussing films.
Back then.
And we had a very involved discussion on the understanding and appreciating of art in general. And it is, anyway, I found it to be exceptionally artful, but a difficult film to watch. And it's still beautiful in its horror. I don't know.
That's the fairest assessment of a Lars von Trier movie that I've ever heard.
So I have yet to see though the house that Jack built. It's Matt. We're gonna have to get around to it.
Yeah, we are. I'd be very curious to hear where you ended up with that one. Because if that one is tougher to watch than Antichrist and all of its bloody ejaculate, then I will. I look forward to this to really hear what you have to say about it.
Good times.
Mm-hmm.
Good times. If you had a chance to see the Prodigy, we'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday. Well, there was a film that we were both really excited about. I'm going to ask our guests all about it too when we get back. It's coming out on Blu-ray and DVD. So let's hear a clip from it though and jump right in.
What happened there?
I found him inside the church.
The crowd grabbed me as soon as I hit the ground.
Inside the church? How did you get inside the church? Dead bodies. Slow down.
Listen to me. They're doing experiments on them in there. They're doing experiments on the villagers.
What?
Just like their aunt.
burning people with these flamethrowers, and they're still moving the bodies. Cocoon things in there. Did you get eyes on the tower compound? She doesn't have a body, and she's still talking. And I saw Roosevelt. Voice. Did you get eyes on the tower compound? The tower base is below the ground, but there's more than that down there. Okay. Look. Okay.
What the hell is that?
Indeed, what the hell was that? That is a clip from Overlord, the Nazi, not quite zombie monster film that came out in 2018 that Matt and I were both really, really excited for, and then walked out. Is disappointed the right way to put that?
Underwhelmed.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, what did you guys think about it? Seems right in your wheelhouse.
I'll let David go first because he's the one that wrote the review for this one.
Yeah, so Overlord, I tend to go into movies with, I try to go into movies with as little knowledge ahead of time as possible. So I went into this kind of just expecting a blockbuster horror movie, and that's pretty much what I got. It was a lot of fun to watch in theaters. The sound was spectacular, and the first 15 minutes of it were really, really, really intense and fun. And yeah, I had a pretty good time at Overlord. It was a pleasant surprise because I was really expecting just kind of what I got when I watched The Prodigy. So I liked Overlord quite a bit, more than The Prodigy, I should say.
I think I'd be inclined to agree with that. Bryce, did you share David's thoughts on that?
I think this one we kind of disagreed on. I thought it was pretty middle of the road and pretty uneven. There were some parts that were good and a lot of parts that weren't. And a lot of like explaining the logic behind what happened with this, superhuman serum or dead serum or whatever.
Yeah.
It just seems like it's the horror serum. It just makes them do whatever's convenient for this action sequence.
Bone hurting juice.
Yeah, it's bone hurting juice. So I wasn't a huge fan.
I think our biggest critique of it, our struggle with it, is that it didn't have enough zombie monster guys. We were kind of going in and looking for like a World War Z Part 2, or I guess that Russian scene, right, that they filmed. It was filmed, right, that they never released, when there's this big climactic battle between the military and the zombies, or at least a few more of them. And I don't know, I found undersold or underrepresented by the zombie portion of it. 3 wasn't enough for you? What's the matter with you? I get a little picky. Zombies my go-to, so I'm looking for a healthy chunk of them. So if you get it, though, from Best Buy this week, you can get it from a steel book. And that, of course, this is all coming out on February 19th. And there are approximately 6, if I can count. I'm always a C student in math, featurettes on the making of the film. One of the front runners for Best Picture is being released. That is A Star is Born. Best Buy gives you a steel book. Target has some unique packaging and bonus content. No information on what it is, just that it's 20 minutes long. So thanks, Target website. And if there's a special 4K release that comes with the soundtrack, there's some jam sessions and rarities as well as music videos. The attempt to relaunch Robin Hood again came out. That's going to be a Best Buy steelbook as well if you want to grab that. There's a 7-part documentary on the making of, as well as some outtakes and deleted scenes. There was no juice for this.
A 7-part documentary on that film?
Yes.
Is the documentary entitled What Went Wrong?
That would be good. Yeah, it's more like a Hearts of Darkness, Apocalypse Now thing, I think. Is they really get into the minutia. I didn't even check this out. I don't know what it was. There was no pull for me to see this. And from what I understand, it wasn't even terribly good. Did either of you guys see it?
No, I didn't see it. I just wonder how many Robin Hood movies Hollywood has to make before they realize that no one's asking for it.
I'm assuming another 6 more.
Yeah,
Donnie Yen returns in Iceman the Time Traveler. The Imperial Guard and his 3 treacherous childhood friends ordered to hunt him down, get accidentally buried, and kept frozen in time. 400 years later pass. That's an oddly structured sentence. And they are defrosted, continuing the battle they left behind. I love me some Donnie Yen, so I'll have to check this out as soon as I can stream it. And then this film Backtrace, which features Sylvester Stallone, is a lone survivor, thief of a violent armored car robbery thinger, and he's like got top billing. And from what I understand, he's in this thing for like 4 minutes. So if you want to just get a dusting of Stallone, you can check out Backtrace. New to Blue, Criterion is releasing Verite. It's a beautiful, troubled Dominique Marceau. She comes to Bohemian Paris, Matt, to escape the suffocation of provincial life, only to wind up in a courtroom accused of a terrible crime, the murder of her lover. It's a brand new 4K restoration of the film, as well as some archived interviews and a 60-minute documentary from 2017 on the making of the film. Criterion is also giving us Death in Venice, based on the classic novella by Thomas Mann. This late-career masterpiece from Luchino Visconti is a meditation on the nature of art, the allure of beauty, and the inescapability of death. A brand new 4K restoration of that film as well, with some new featurettes and a bunch of archived stuff. But again, it's Criterion, so I think at some point you're going to have to check it out. Matt, I signed up. I paid up. I can now watch the Criterion Channel stuff.
Wow, does that mean you're going to stop obsessively buying them half off when they go half off at Barnes & Noble?
Likely.
Likely?
They're only doing one film a week right now. I think that it doesn't officially launch until March.
Oh, okay.
But are you guys dabble in the Criterions and the classic stuff as well? I know you focus on horror, and this is my own ignorance. Do you guys, though, appreciate film as a wider genre, the classics, all that stuff?
We're just kind of schmucks. Like we're not film students. I mean, I've got a couple Criterion DVDs, mostly just by happenstance. But yeah, I'm not eagerly awaiting every release.
I think that's fair. And
I
always
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and that's that.
Okay. I like these guys.
I know. God, I am such a pretentious prick. Kino Lorber is releasing Mad Dog and Glory, the Robert De Niro, Uma Thurman, Bill Murray film from the, is it late 80s, early 90s? I don't know. Never seen it. Always meant to. Now I can. Arrow is giving us Color Me Blood Red, the Herschel Gordon Lewis classic, of course, the godfather of gore, is being released. They're also releasing My Name is Julia Ross. An unemployed London secretary is hired as a live-in assistant for an elderly woman, but soon finds herself in a nightmarish situation. She has to do the windows. So Dark the Night, also being released by Arrow, a film by Joseph H. Lewis, who directed Gun Crazy, a classic film noir, Matt, which we will be doing as part of our unannounced film noir marathon. We will be just watching Gun Crazy. I know you're excited for that later in the year. Warner Archive is giving us Year of the Dragon. This is a Mickey Rourke film directed by Michael Cimino. I know that. He gave us The Deer Hunter, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, and all that stuff. And it's also written by Oliver Stone. If you're not familiar with Year of the Dragon, now you can check that out. Twilight Time is given a bunch of stuff. I told you it was just a ridiculously long list this week. Talk Radio, the Oliver Stone film based on the assassination of Alan Berg, is being released. And of course, with all Twilight film releases, there's only 3,000 copies being released. They're also giving us Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter and the original Bedazzled from 1967 starring Raquel Welch. And finally, their Honorable Crichton, where Lord Lowham has modern ideas about his household. He believes in treating his servants as equals, at least sometimes. Youngblood, the film starring Rob Lowe, Patrick Swayze, Cynthia Gibb, and then, in a small part, Kahanu. John Wick himself is being released. And then Skinner, a horror film from the 90s starring Ted Raimi, Ricky Lake, and Tracy Lawrence. Mill Creek is giving us their VHS covers. Have you guys seen these at all? They look like VHS releases where it's the slipcase and the VHS is peeking out the side. It's the newfangled thing because everybody's all hot about VHS right now. They're releasing Sheena, starring Tanya Roberts, Songwriter, featuring Chris Christopherson and Willie Nelson, Neighbors, with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, and then Legend of Billie Jean with Helen Slater. And then also independently, Barbed Wire, the Pam Anderson action film. Are you guys VHS guys? Because I know the horror community is really big into VHS. We have here locally in Tampa a Grindhouse Video, which they specialize in all sorts of crazy stuff. And I've bought a bunch of stuff from them. In fact, I think I'll be picking up Basket Case this week from them. But they have a massive VHS section of the store. Are you part of that community as well?
So out here in Portland, we have a world-renowned movie rental store as well called Movie Madness.
And, I've heard of it.
Yeah, and I've visited that place once or twice, and they have a huge selection of Trauma and other such, wacky, goofy horror stuff. But no, I'm just kind of a streaming guy now. It's just, you gotta buy it and put it in. Get up, like I'm not getting up.
Mess with tracking, David. I want to ask you about that because I listened to your Silent Night Deadly Night and you guys talked about physical media versus streaming. And I get when you have a large library, like I have a massive library of stuff myself, that it's so much easier to go at streaming. It's all right there, right at your fingertips. But then you run into stuff where maybe the place you bought it from loses the rights and now you've lost that copy, unless you've already downloaded it. That's why I'm still a big believer in physical media. But are you in the camp of that just streaming is the future, that's where it is, and I'm just going to have to suck it up and deal with it?
I don't have a hard stance on it, really. It's just, for me, it's just all about convenience, and usually I can find it somewhere. I either have a buddy who I can stream it from, or I can find it on Amazon. But it's just one of these things where if I can't find it, then it's gone to me, and you have it, and you can enjoy it, and you're all the better for it.
I'm all on board with physical media with music. I still buy CDs, but for movies, it's been a while since I've bought a DVD, unless it's for the kids. Like the Disney movies for the kids is just nice to have a physical copy because it comes with a digital copy anyways most of the time.
Gotcha.
But for me, about the VHS question, I don't own a VCR anymore, but on the episode that we just recorded, I was touting my VHS copy of Transformers the movie from 1986.
He was very proud.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's something to be proud of. I'm impressed.
Nice. I used to have that. I think we had it as a drop years ago and I lost it. You got the touch.
That was our exact conversation.
Nice. What else we got going? Oh, finally, this is going to end. Oh, this interminable segment ends. Your straight to DVD pick of the week is Freddy. Prepare for an adventure that's out of this world. When an intelligent, lovable robot known as Freddy goes missing from a secret government research facility, it's found by 15-year-old James. Soon, the two begin to communicate and create a bond in which Freddy starts to learn about human life. But very soon, government agents are hot on their tail, and they'll stop at nothing to get Freddy back. Sound familiar at all? So, my favorite thing about it is on the cover. You can look this up on Amazon. On the cover, it writes that comparing this movie to Short Circuit. And then it's so amazing. So I'm convinced if I were to go find the review that this was based on, it would say it would be a horrible mistake comparing this movie to Short Circuit. And then finally, it's so amazing that this thing got made. I really feel like it's one of those things where they just clipped out what they wanted for the cover. This is no Wolf Cop situation, Matt. When we got quoted for that one, not at all. So go ahead, Matt. What should we be streaming this week?
So I'm going to go a little out of the box. On Netflix, I'm going to recommend Fire, which is the documentary of the disastrous Fire Festival. It's just really fascinating to watch the hubris of the people putting this on when they had absolutely no business doing this, and how they just kept digging themselves deeper and deeper and deeper. And their hubris extended to where they literally filmed everything that they were doing, and it's fantastic. But also, there's some beautiful Schadenfreude when you get to watch a bunch of people who have more money than sense and paid $250,000 for 2 nights in a tent, basically, get stranded in the Bahamas, and it's lovely just to watch them all freak out. So check it out if you're in the mood to laugh at rich people.
Is that Netflix or Hulu?
That's the Netflix version. Hulu has a competing version, which I have not seen at this point.
Okay. Yeah, I have to admit, I was enjoying the Schadenfreude of that. I agree with you entirely. That thing was just. Did you guys check that thing out?
Yeah, I've seen the Netflix one, and I think I saw most of the Hulu one. Some of it's been posted on YouTube, and yeah, it's delightful just watching con artists work.
One of which is Ja Rule.
Yeah. Ja Rule is. It's not. What did he say? It's not fraud.
It's not fraud, right?
False advertising.
Yeah. It's not fraud. I'm like, I don't think that's going to hold up in court, Ja. Are you a JD? but they seem to be like, okay, they were fine with it.
Right, David, what were you going to say?
Oh, it's just so interesting because I wonder how, to have the kind of balls to do anything of this magnitude. I wonder if things start out this way and just kind of come together sometimes, maybe not to this scale, but that Fire Festival, I gotta wonder if other such festivals or big events come together in the same way and just end up working out, and this one didn't, and everything went wrong. But it was very interesting to watch and a great pick, I think. So I would go watch that if I were you.
There you go.
I mean, it's worth the price of admission for the story of like the one producer that has to go get the water from.
Oh yeah, the act that he's prepared to do. Yeah.
He's become a meme, unfortunately for him.
Yeah.
Good times. Oh, finally, that's over. Let's go ahead then and move on. Let's talk a little bit about Cold Pursuit.
Kyle, you got mixed up with some clown by the name of Dante, and they stole a kilo of coke from Viking.
Who's Viking?
Drug dealer, a big one. Viking's a whole different breed. He likes hurting people.
Gonna kill him, Rock.
Sure you are. What makes you think you can kill a man?
I've killed 3 of his guys.
What did you do with the bodies?
Wrapped them in chicken wire, threw them in the gorge.
Where'd you learn that?
I read it in a crime novel.
So Cold Pursuit. Liam Neeson plays a gentleman in Colorado. He's the guy that clears the roads. All right. So you can get through during the snowstorms. And they're in a casino ski resort kind of town. And his son is killed by a bunch of bad guy drug dealers as opposed to the good guy drug dealer. And he starts to slowly kind of take out all these different guys, and he gets the notice of the big head drug dealer, and they try and find out who did it and hunt him down. And it's Liam Neeson doing Liam Neeson, but not quite. Matt, Cold Pursuit. So we're used to our winter Liam Neeson action film, right? You got your Night Cops, you got your Takens, you got your other ones.
The Gray.
The Gray, sure. Now, there's a little controversy surrounding this film that I don't know if we want to get into or not. But still, as far as Liam Neeson actioners go, what were your thoughts on Cold Pursuit? And follow-up, have you seen the original In Order of Disappearance, currently available on Netflix?
I will answer that question first. No, I have not. And I had no idea it was on Netflix. So maybe I'll check it out. But
you should.
It's not very likely because I did not really enjoy this at all. It was very by the numbers Liam Neeson revenge thriller, except not really that exciting. I don't know what it was. I just could not get into it. I guess maybe I'm just getting old and I just don't I'm not cool anymore and I can't follow along the hip store structure. But yeah, I just was not on board with this whole thing they had going on. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say it now. I mean, the ending, man, just that final scene. What was that? Like that final shot. That was just kind of random out of nowhere.
All right, Matt, you're and Tyler along. Let's move on. 0 for 1. David, did you have it? I know I unfortunately dropped this one on you guys at the last minute. So if you didn't get a chance to check it out, I totally understand. But David, did you see Cold Pursuit? And if so, what were your thoughts? And have you seen the original on Netflix?
I have not seen the original on Netflix.
Okay.
And I did not actually get a chance to see this one. I have a really good excuse, though. I just had a baby daughter, and everybody in my house has the plague, including my wife, who is trying very hard to keep the baby alive. So I had to do it. Life depended on me not seeing this movie.
Wow. Priorities, Dave.
I've heard this before, Matt, and I find none of these explanations acceptable. But that's fine. We're going to move on. Right.
Yeah, I saw it about 5 hours ago, so it's very fresh in my mind.
Okay. Thoughts?
You see, I went into it not knowing that it was a remake, and as I was sitting through like the opening scenes, I was like, this has to be like a remake of a Scandinavian movie. Like, this is so Norwegian. just the storyline of it, that it just felt weird that it was in America. And I could see in my mind's eye what the original would look like, and I think I'd probably like it more because it would make more sense. But yeah, I thought it was enjoyable. I liked it. There could have been some improvements made, and especially with the character that Liam Neeson plays, make him do a little bit more character development and make him not so adept at it being a killing machine. Would probably be more interesting.
See, that's interesting because I think that they play against that. All right, so that's a more acceptable answer, Matt. You should follow Bryce's example.
Oh, please. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this.
So listen, all right. If you're going into this looking for Taken in the Snow, you're not going to get it. That's not what this movie is. All right. This is a very different film than that. But it's still, I think for me, a bit of flair and some black comedy for me goes a long way, especially if you give me a snow-drenched kind of modern day revenge Western. So the original film stars Stellan Skarsgård. And I think that's a better, more inspired casting choice because Neeson has that baggage of being the Brian Mills unstoppable killing machine. Now, he has the scenes in this, this is almost like a shot-for-shot remake. But it is the same guy, the same Hans Petter Molen, who directed the original, directed this one as well. So, but still, there's those scenes where, where he's fighting the one guy in front of the plow and he's exhausted about it. And then, of course, he shoots him. But still, there are, I think Stellan Skarsgård is a better choice because he's more, and pardon the term, gentlemen, schlubby, right? He doesn't have that kind of Neeson kind of driving intensity. So I think that character works better. But I think this film, that Cold Pursuit, handles the relationship between the kid and the gangsters better. It's more interesting. It's more fun. And the kid actually has a larger, not much, but a larger role in the U.S. version, and it's more interesting. So that stuff works out a little bit better. But I think overall, the black comedy stuff for me was great. I think maybe the palette is a little different. The original is a little brighter. This one's darker and grayer. But still, I thought it was a fun take on Neeson's archetype, right? Because he's known as this Brian Mills guy now. And I think this showed him to be a little more, maybe not quite vulnerable is the right word, but not as unstoppable as some of the other stuff. So I actually thought that the action was solid. I thought the script delivers some thrills, and I enjoyed the dark humor in it, Matt. In fact, when I walked out of this thing, I was like, I texted Matt because this was not on the docket. We were actually going to do High Flying Bird, which is the Soderbergh film on Netflix right now that he shot on an iPhone, which we would probably do next week. But I walked out of this like, I think Matt might enjoy this. So I said, if you get a chance, check it out. Now, granted, clearly I was wrong, but then clearly so was he. So I don't know. I rather enjoyed this thing, Matt.
Yeah, Bryce, that was an interesting point you made because now that I think about it, I kind of vaguely knew this is a remake, but man, that kid is like the most Scandinavian thing I've ever seen. Like he gets kidnapped, doesn't give a shit, which is like has like everybody he knows is dead in a parking lot, and he just like drives off, and the police don't even stop him. Like I don't even know what the hell's going on with this film. I just couldn't get behind it. And I think maybe it's a personal failing. I'm expecting something like Taken, or that kind of character that Liam Neeson just seems to cash a check on at this point. Even in Widows, I was expecting something more along that lines. I was not expecting this, and it just had a very weird, cold, obviously very, intentional feel to it. But it is interesting because I haven't seen the original, that this is basically another Funny Games where they just basically create the same film shot for shot, line for line, and just have their second film.
Well, what is interesting too is the original film, the gang they go up against is Serbian. Now in this one, it's a Native American gang, which I think adds a certain depth and an interesting turn on the film. I appreciate the fact that it was a Native American gang, and it's a more interesting foil for our bad guy drug dealers, not the good guy drug dealers, which I think technically would be the Native Americans, if that's a thing. Either way, I found that turn to be a little more interesting and entertaining. So I'm disappointed, Matt, that you did not enjoy this as much as I did. I'm going to give Cold Pursuit a B-. For me, it was kind of reminiscent, though not as well done, as an In Bruges with kind of a dusting of Coen brothers. It's not as successful as kind of those films, but I think still entertaining enough. B-, Cold Pursuit.
Yeah, it seems weird to give this film the same film rating that I gave The Prodigy, but I'm gonna give it a C as well. It's all right. It just wasn't what I was expecting. And I guess I would maybe that's just my own failings. I just kind of went in expecting one thing, and I'm pouting because I didn't get it.
Maybe. Bryce, do you want to give me a number from your ranking, or do you want to venture out into the grade?
I'll go. I'm a guest here, so I'll use the grading that you use. I would do a B, and I think it gets an extra point just because I'm like pretty much half Norwegian, and so the stoic like father figure that doesn't really seem broken up that his son's dead or that his wife left him. I'm like, yes, this feels right.
This touches me in the soul.
Yes.
He doesn't look it, but Bryce shares a lot in common with Liam Neeson.
I believe it.
Right.
It's the intensity. I can see
That's
it.
right. You have a certain set of skills.
I've killed 4 people.
So you're ahead of the game.
Clear, he let his kids kill 4 people.
Yeah, so I don't know if I said, but I'd give it a B.
I got you. I got you marked down. I appreciate it. I agree. That's even a higher score than I gave it. So good for you. David, do any of these discussions make you want to see Cold Pursuit now?
I mean, not really.
I'll take that as a no.
I would really like to see great movies all the time, or really bad movies all the time, like funnily bad movies. And so the middle of the road ones.
Fair enough. I think that's a platform I can get behind. So if you've had a chance to see Cold Pursuit, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And now it's time. We are going to do our Oscar predictions. And as I stated in the opening of the show, for me, it was off air. I have never been less confident in my entire life about choosing an Oscar prediction, of naming one. In fact, I am now going to play a clip from you from a film that was unfairly snubbed, should have been a Best Picture nominee, and the fact that it wasn't just blows my mind. I still can't understand it. So here is a clip.
See, Tish, it's not done. It's a work in progress.
Honey, I'm sorry, but how we gonna make this into a home?
Look, imagine our walls, right? Over here and over here.
But where we gonna cook and sleep and bathe? I mean, where my mama and them gonna sit?
Easy. But I put a couch right over here. Huh? Mama, Daddy, maybe even Ernestine, right? And the bed I put all the way back there, right against the wall. So I can see that pretty light on your face when the sun rises. Some of my sculptures over here and over here, right? As far as eating goes, I was thinking we could put a table right here. What you think?
I think it's a goddamn shame. That's what I think. So that is a clip from If Beale Street Could Talk, the latest film from Barry Jenkins, who gave us the Oscar-winning film Moonlight a few years ago. And Matt, I don't get it. It aggravates me. And the fact that Green Book and Bohemian Rhapsody, and gentlemen, you wouldn't know this, but I am a massive Queen fan. But if either of those films win Best Picture, I will be, I don't know if devastated is the right term. Will I be devastated? I'll be upset. And if Beale Street doesn't even get a nom, and there's 10 options. You can choose 10. You give us what? What do they got, Matt? 8? And you can't name, whatever. I don't want to talk about it. Okay.
But we're going to talk about it right now.
We are. All right. So now we're going to do our Oscar predictions. We're just going to run down the big cats. So it's going to be Best Actor, Best Actress, Supporting, Direction, and then Picture. Am I missing any? Those are the big dogs, right, Matt?
Those are the big ones. We can go with that.
All right. Since I am the all-powerful Oz, I'm going to go first. And then we will rotate around the room. If it's all right, I'll go me, and then I'm just going to go in order of my YouTube view right now. So go me, Bryce, and David, and then Matt. You're the caboose, my friend.
Got it.
So we're going to start things off with actor in a supporting role. Oh, gentlemen, I should have told you this. So what we do is we move on. Then Bryce, you'll do actress in a supporting role. I'll ask you to read the nominees. If you don't have them present, just give me a heads up, and I'll be more than happy to run them. And then who you think will win, and then who you think should win, if you have a difference.
Okay.
Good times. Actor in a supporting role. Your nominees are Marshall Ali for Green Book, Adam Driver for Black Klansman, Sam Elliott in A Star Is Born, Richard E. Grant, Can You Ever Forgive Me, and Sam Rockwell in Vice. So who's going to win? Matt, gentlemen, it's going to be Marshall Ali in Green Book. I think Green Book is not going to do exceptionally well, but I think that they're going to give this one to him as Shirley. I just think that that's how it's going to fall. I think one of the big leaders, though, is likely Sam Elliott. I just don't know if he has enough screen time. Who I want to win, and of course, Adam Driver, who I think is fantastic in Black Klansman. Is he a dark horse for that? Is that official? Is that a fair description?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think he's got a better chance than Richard E. Grant or Sam Rockwell.
And oddly enough, that's who I think should win is Richard E. Grant. Really? I got a chance to catch up with Can You Ever Forgive Me. I loved it, and he is fantastic in that thing. That's who I think should win. But who's going to win? It's Marshall Ali. What do you guys think? I need your predictions. Who do you got?
Was it me next or?
Yeah.
Well, but I also want to know who. Yeah, Bryce. What do you got? Who do you think is going to win that role?
Yeah, I just changed mine because I realized who Richard E. Grant was, and I forgot the name of the movie. Can You Ever Forget? That's the Melissa McCarthy name.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, he's the one I want to win. He was fantastic in that movie. I think Sam Elliott will win just for a lifetime achievement Oscar, basically.
I think that's fair reasoning. David, what do you got?
So full disclosure here, I haven't seen any of these movies. so I couldn't really tell you. I really like Sam Rockwell as a person and an actor. So so I'm gonna say Sam Rockwell for sure. Like, lock it in.
I'll take it to the bank. I like that.
There you go.
Matt?
All right, so I think I'm with Bryce. I think Sam Elliott's going to win just as a lifetime achievement thing, and especially since Ali won very recently. So I think I think that's how that's going to go. I didn't see Can You Ever Forgive Me? So I'm gonna stick with my boy Adam Driver. I'll be the dark horse. That's who I think should win out of the 4 of these that I've seen.
Man, I know you guys really got me thinking about Sam Elliott. I'm gonna have to think about that. I reserve the right to change my opinion before the telecast.
That's the thing with the Oscars. Like, you just got to picking them. It has nothing to do with quality. It's playing the game of what the Academy would choose to make them feel good about giving out the award.
That's exactly it. All right, Bryce. So go ahead. Actress in a supporting role. Run them down. All
right. We got Amy Adams in Vice, Marina de Tavira in Roma.
Nailed it.
Regina King in If Beale Street Could Talk. Emma Stone in The Favorite, and Rachel Weisz in The Favorite. My pick would be Emma Stone. I really liked her. I mean, that really should be a Best Actress role. All the women in that movie should be nominated for Best Actress. I think that Marina de Tavira will win. I haven't seen the movie, but that's my guess.
Interesting. David.
Yeah, so I really loved The Favorite, and but I think if I had to choose between Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone, I'm going Rachel Weisz. Although I think Bryce really nailed it. Really, all the women in that movie just did a spectacular job.
Fair enough. So I'm sorry. So you think that Rachel's going to win it? I missed that.
Yes, sir. Rachel Weisz.
Okay, that is incorrect, but fair.
Damn.
You can't abuse our guests.
I'm sorry, you're entirely right. I gotta save that. I gotta save the vitriol from that.
That's right.
That's right.
I'm used to it. I got a thick skin. All right, so I think Regina King is going to win, and I can't be mad about that.
Answer.
because I think, you know, she was great in that film, especially that scene down in Puerto Rico. But it was, but who I would like to see the win, as much as I like The Favorite. It's obviously my favorite movie of last year, and I would go with Rachel Weisz over Emma Stone. That's who I would like to win, but I think it's going to be Regina King.
Oh God, you're 1 for 2 in that, Matt. So clearly the winner is going to be Regina King, but who should win is Emma Stone. So
you know what?
That's it.
Half the podcast is on one side.
The look she get. There's one scene where Emma Stone gives this kind of chortling look that is like that alone for me earned her like the Oscar for that.
I'm giving you a video conference high five for your pick.
Thank you. All right, so we're up with David, right? So David, you're gonna go. Where are we then? Actor in a leading role, right? Does that work? That works. David, if you'd like to take go.
Yeah. So we got for Best Actor, we got Christian Bale for Vice, Bradley Cooper for A Star Is Born, Willem Dafoe At Eternity's Gates, Rami Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody, and Viggo Mortensen for Green Book.
So what do you think?
Again, I have not really seen any of these because let's be honest here. None of these are horror movies, and Hereditary didn't make it, and I'm very upset about that. So I'm actually going to do a write-in and say Alex Wolff for Peter in Hereditary.
There you go.
So do you think any of those guys though will win? You're gonna throw me out like a Bale at least?
Yeah, if I had to just take a stab in the dark, I really love Christian Bale. He's hands down my favorite actor of all time. So give it to Bale.
I think that's the correct answer, Matt.
Yeah. So I didn't see Stars Born or At Attorney's Gate. And one, I'm just annoyed that Viggo is an actor in a leading role, whereas Ali is in a supporting role, which is weird. But I think Christian Bale should win. But I have this nervous feeling that Rami Malek's going to win. So I think Rami Malek's going to win, but I think Christian Bale should win. Although it's very close. I think Bale being in a political, kind of film could sway the voters.
So yeah, I am terrified that Malek's going to win. I think Bale will, and I think he should. But I also want to do a shout out for Ben Foster in what was Leave No Trace.
Leave No Trace, yeah.
Ethan Hawke in First Reformed gives a performance of his life, and then Joaquin Phoenix and You Were Never Really Here. I mean, criminally underrepresented. All three of those guys deserve nominations. It's just I don't understand that at all. I would jettison Viggo. I may jettison Bradley and Malek just to get those three guys in, and I have no problem with that. I didn't say anything. I can't talk about Dafoe because I haven't seen At Eternity's Gate. But have you guys seen You Were Never Really Here? I think that might fit your show's criterion.
I have not. I don't even think I've ever heard of that.
So, David?
I don't believe so, no.
So I think it's on Amazon Prime right now, I believe, right, Matt?
It is. It is on Amazon Prime.
It's directed by Lynn Ramsey, and Joaquin Phoenix basically plays a Iraq war veteran with PTSD who hires himself out to rescue women and kill pedophiles. And it is...
Sounds delightful.
It is like shockingly violent at times, but this unrelenting freight train of just... we both really, really enjoyed it. Right?
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it is a brutal sit, but it's in the best way I can imagine.
So you guys will have to check that one out. All right, where are we? Matt, you are actress in the lead?
Right.
Did I hit everybody? Am I jumping ahead? We got everybody.
You missed me.
I'm sorry, Bryce. Go ahead.
For Best Actor. My pick is Rami Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody. It's a hard one to guess this time because there's so many biopics in here, and Oscars love biopics for Best Actor. But I think Rami Malek will get it, and Bohemian Rhapsody won't win anything else. But my pick would be Viggo. I really liked him in that movie. He was almost unrecognizable to me.
I'm going to let that go. Matt, go ahead.
All right. Actresses in a leading role.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to butcher this. I'm sorry. Yalitza Aparicio in Roma, Glenn Close in The Wife, Olivia Colman in The Favorite, Lady Gaga, A Star Is Born, and Melissa McCarthy, Can You Ever Forgive Me? So right out of the gate, I think who should win is Olivia Colman. I think it's going to be down to her and Lady Gaga, although I'm nervous it's going to be Lady Gaga. But I'm not super confident, so I'm just still going to stick with Olivia Colman should and will win.
Wow, good for you. I don't have your confidence. I'm actually going Olivia should, Gaga will.
Fair enough.
So, and Matt. Sorry, Bryce. What do you think?
I want Olivia Colman to win as well. I first marked down Lady Gaga, but then I realized, like, no, the new actress is always rewarded in supporting actress roles. And I think Glenn Close will win it, and I have no idea what that movie's about. But I don't think she's ever won an Oscar, and I think they'll give it to her.
A little Sam Elliott action, David.
So again, I really I could not have a stronger opinion on this. Toni Collette got robbed, completely blind on this. I can't believe she's not in this lineup. I would choose her a million times over, but I gotta say, if you're gonna give it to anybody, like Olivia Colman destroyed it on this movie. She did a spectacular job in The Favorite, and I had a great time watching her be kind of crazy.
No, I think that's really good. So do you think she has a good shot then? You think she'll win it as well, or do you think that Gaga's going to sneak up and grab it?
I'm just gonna say Olivia Colman and hope that the right thing happens, knowing that it probably won't.
I like it. David practicing the secret. You're going to will it into happening. I appreciate that. And I agree with you entirely on the Colette thing. That blew my mind. I mean, there's a rawness and vulnerability in that thing that you just don't see that, particularly in a genre film. And at some point, genre films, particularly horror and comedy, need to start getting their due. I mean, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that they are continuously shut out of any of these award categories. Yeah. All right, where am I? We back to me, right? No. Are we? That's exciting. Yeah. So that'll be best direction then, right? Because we got all the awards. We got all the, I should say, acting roles. So direction is going to be Black Klansman, Cold War, The Favorite, Roma, or Vice. I have absolutely no idea. I think that Spike Lee's got a great shot in Black Klansman. My choice is The Favorite, but I think Netflix is going to pull it out, and they're going to have their direction nom. So I'm going with Roma as will win. Favorite should win. Bryce.
Sorry, I was muted. I think Roma will win, and I would pick Spike Lee. I thought the direction on that film was what made it. So I really hope he wins, but I don't think he will.
That's a good choice. David, what do you got?
I believe that Spike Lee will probably pull this one off. Yorgos Lanthimos quickly has become one of my favorite newish directors. I really love The Favorite. I really love The Killing of a Sacred Deer. I really love The Lobster. And I think The Favorite should win, but I think Black Klansman will.
Excellent. Matt?
So this is a really strong category. I liked all of these films except I didn't see Cold War.
But it is fantastic, and it's hitting Amazon Prime, I think, in a couple weeks.
Okay, we'll have to check it out then. But yeah, I think Alfonso Cuarón will and deserves to win. I mean, Roma is absolutely gorgeous, and as much as I loved The Favorite, and as much as I enjoyed Black Klansman, I think just what Cuarón does with that film in the black and white and everything else, it's just fantastic, and I think he deserves to win.
There you go. All right, Bryce, take us home. Best Picture.
Best Picture. Okay, we got several. We got Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Green Book, Roma, A Star Is Born, and Vice. I'm gonna say that Roma is going to win. I'm doing the Academy math, and you know, there's a lot of talk about a wall, and so I think Roma is gonna get a lot of attention. And I think out of those, I mean, it's not a really great list, but out of those, my favorite was The Favorite. No pun intended.
No, I think you're. Yeah, no. I think that's.
And can we talk about how ridiculous it is that Black Panther is nominated as a Best Picture and Hereditary is not on there?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead, Matt.
I just want to say that Black Panther, for being the first Marvel movie being honored with that nomination, and I get why it's an important film, but it's not the best Marvel film. It's not even the best superhero film that came out in 2018. Like, I'm just annoyed that thing got nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, and it's not an important film. it got like crowned as the important film, and Black Klansman was the important film. Like, that one, if you're gonna talk about like racial tension and the importance of representation, I mean, I think Black Klansman says a lot more, you know, important stuff than the Black Panther.
I think I'm inclined to agree with that, as long as you look at it as a, what are you talking about, above the line, just movies in 2018. If we're gonna fine tune down to superhero films, then I think maybe it has more standing and has more. It is more of a statement for that. But I do agree with you. But I also am along with Matt. We talked about it on the show. It wasn't even the best superhero film of last year. So it features some really interesting performances and some interesting and fun ideas. But I think it's tarnished by the Marvel factory. If they're willing to take more chances and do more things with it, then I think maybe it could have been elevated even more. But if they're hampered by the Marvel just turnout machine, that we need to hit these points and these things have to happen. I mean, Black Panther and Thor Ragnarok, if you think about it, are basically the same film. And they share a lot of the same plot points. They hit the same thing.
Yeah, how dare you, sir? Thor Ragnarok is a treasure. Chris, get out.
It is.
This is the last show we're ever doing.
The plot points are the same. All right, just think about it, and you can get back to me on that. But Ragnarok is the superior film. Yes, we all acknowledge that. So,
not the Academy.
No, not the Academy. David, what do you got for Best Picture? Who's going to win? Who should win?
Yeah, so who should win? I'm gonna sound like a broken record here and say The Favorite. Who's gonna win? Probably Roma. I kind of like, I'm having an internal struggle here because Bohemian Rhapsody and Black Klansman are both. Oh no, I think I'm gonna say Roma.
All right. So neither of you guys are in the camp that think that it's between Green Book and Bo Rap. You're both fairly confident Roma's going to pull it out. Interesting. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Green Book stands a chance. It's too charming to me to be considered a serious film by the Academy.
I think that's fair, and I wonder if the Bryan Singer allegations are going to hold down Bohemian Rhapsody. I hope it doesn't sound weird. I almost hope it does. Anything to tamp down the chances of that thing winning. By the way, there is a horrifying article in the latest issue of the Atlantic about Bryan Singer. So go ahead and read that sometime. All right. So where are we then, Matt?
Yeah. So I think The Favorite should win. Obviously, I don't think, I know the smart money is that Bohemian Rhapsody is going to win, but I just feel like they're going to buck the trend and they're not going to go with the Golden Globes, especially just kind of with the reaction the thing got, and it's just not right. I think Roma is probably going to be the one that's going to win if it's not going to be Bohemian Rhapsody, and I'm okay with that. If Roma wins, I mean, it was an excellent film, so I can't even be mad about it.
There you go. You know what? And I have the exact same thing. I have the favorite as should winning, but Roma apps that will pull it out and win. And then, of course, if Beale Street Could Talk and You Were Never Really Here, two films that definitely deserve some recognition. I'm really disappointed that they were not included. So, interesting. All right, Matt, some consistency. We're going to have to get together then. I think right now we are planning on live streaming the Oscars this year. There's going to be a lot of drinking. We're going to have some guests lined up. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. This is probably going to be
a huge disaster.
Horrible thing to do.
Yes.
And I think, Matt, before that, we once it starts maybe at 8 or we go live a couple minutes ahead of time, we can run down the rest of our picks together so we can wrap up this behemoth of a show that we're now in on.
Yeah.
So, because there's still a lot more to talk about with that. You guys are more than welcome to join us. Shoot me an email or a DM on the Twitters, and we can slot you in. I don't know why you'd want to. You're probably like, why the hell did I even decide to guest on this show?
Well, I would like to be the guest, but I'm probably just not even going to watch the Oscars. So it's.
I don't even know if I was gonna this year, but then I came up with this idea that I thought might be fun. And we like kind of almost MST3K the damn thing, Matt. I don't know.
Yeah, because we're very witty and on the fly. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
I am, Matt.
Yeah, sure.
I am. So that's going to be the big show this week. Gentlemen, I really thank you for joining us. It meant the world to me to get you guys on here. We're trying to line up more guests all the time, so I do appreciate you joining us. What's coming up next on Horror Movie Talk?
Next episode will be released this Wednesday, and it'll be
Happy Death Day to You.
Happy Death Day to You. Thank you. The sequel to Happy Death Day. And you'll have to listen in to hear what we think about it.
What did you guys think of the first one?
I really liked it. Like I mean, I just watched it this last week to prepare for Happy Death Day to You, but yeah, I mean, it's a really tight, well-crafted horror movie.
David?
Yeah, I didn't actually. I mean, things have been popping here at the day house. So I'm just look. I know it's a tired and kind of flimsy excuse, but keeping that child alive, mildly important to me at this point.
It is the greatest adventure. We should check it out. It's actually quite good. So Matt, we both really enjoyed it when it first came. We were surprised how entertaining it was.
Yeah,
I know.
It's fun.
Next week, we'll be doing Alita Battle Angel, and I'm going to go see Happy Death Day 2, man. I don't know if you have the time to squeeze it in, but I will be seeing
probably since I'm way ahead of the game and saw Alita. You know, I really like how movies show at like 10 o'clock in the morning on the weekends because it really just allows me to like get this out of the way and I can go do on with the rest of my life. And it's I really like that. I wish they would do it more often.
I'll talk to them. So, of course, as we stated, you can check out Horror Movie Talk at horrormovietalk.com. They are, of course, on all the things, right? You're on Twitter, Instagram. Are you on Instagram? Did I just make that up?
Yeah, we're on Instagram, but we're not really on Instagram.
Got it. Facebook, YouTube, Reddit, and you can check them all out there and then listen to them everywhere, right? You got your Apple Podcasts, you got your TuneIns, your Stitchers, your what do the kids use all the time? What's the one everybody uses now? Not Pandora. Shows you how much I use it.
Spotify.
That's it.
Spotify. Yeah, we're on all of them. We're almost like a reputable podcast. So you can
someday,
you can,
Matt.
Wherever you look for reputable podcasts, you'll also find us.
That is fantastic. Yeah, as I said, or I maybe said, I have been listening to some of the archive shows. I shouldn't say archive, but the older ones. I love the classic 80s horror. That's kind of my wheelhouse. So you can check that out. I just listened to Sleepaway Camp, which is a personal favorite of mine. But I did overhear some discussion about not liking Black Christmas, which made me upset. And before I do let you go, there is one thing I wanted to ask you guys about. Can you explain this?
God damn, look at those hot children.
Bravo. Well played, sir. Everybody's just got to clip me and then make me sound like a pedophile.
That, of course, is from their Sleepaway Camp review, which is taken entirely out of context.
Yeah, I mean, the context for that one is I was talking about my children, ages 6 and 4.
I don't know if you're helping.
And David just went off on how attractive they were. It was
this is defamation. You'll be hearing from my lawyer. The podcast is over. Those listening can go and check out the archived, now definitely archived episode.
Constantine's attorney.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for playing that clip because I don't have the ability to right now, and I make it pretty much a point to play it on every episode at this point.
Right. That's good. Well, if you need an MP3 of it, I'm more than happy to email it to you if you haven't clipped it yet. Good times. All right. So that's going to be the big show this week. You can check us out on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Just do a search for The First Run. Scroll. Eventually you will find us. Please go over to Apple Podcasts and give us a review. 3 stars and above, maybe 4. I don't know. Whatever it is, I'll read it on air, I promise. Because that's how other people will find the show. And that, Matt and gentlemen, David, Bryce, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it again. I had a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll have you guys back on again soon. So we're going to go ahead.
Guys.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Bryce.
Thanks for having us. We really appreciate it. And you guys got a well-oiled machine here, and I'm glad we could give our Oscar picks.
I appreciate it. It was great having you. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and take an extended break. We'll see you all soon. And we missed it out last week because I was so determined to include a stinger from Audition. But we're going to say goodbye and farewell to Albert Finney this week. So let's take an extended break, and we'll see you all soon.
So who is it we're supposed to be fighting?
No we in it, Kincaid. This is not your fight.
Try and stop me, you jumped up little shit.